Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extraterrestrials, undesirable invaders from another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past and pray?
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, milking table attendants, and anyone who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I'm your host, Tasker, as per usual, and we have over here the very striped, the very nice and cozy and warm Nick.
Oh, yeah, I'm so cozy and I'm so warm, but there's a problem.
What?
I'm so hungover right now. Oh my god.
Well, obviously because you are celebrating our new logo, huh?
Yeah. Everybody, look at first off, look at your phone or whatever you're listening to this on. We have a new logo, and it's all thanks to Tasker, right? So everybody,
Woo. That's
give
Nick.
him a round of applause.
That was actually Nick fapping. It was not a clap. In case I see the video feed and you guys don't, and it was. I have mixed feelings. I'll say that, but if you're just now tuning into us, the logo is not going to look like it's changed at all because everything updated. But this is the landmark episode right here where we're telling you we did have an old logo and now we have a new one, which will be kind of moot point if we end up changing it in the future again. So, yay.
Awesome. But I love it. We've already gotten some good reception from our friends and fans on social media about it as well. And I just wanted to say something. Look, Tasker, I think it's awesome that you can finally use your art degree for something. So congratulations.
Well, I love that my art degree is slowly turning into social media marketing expertise instead.
Hey, it's the future. It is the social media is the future, man. Consider this something to put on your resume.
Yeah, I'm happy I have more options than I did before, which was zero. So, you know, it feels good. I'm happy with it. I hope all you guys like it because it's probably going to stay like this.
Yes, it looks beautiful. So again, thank you, Tasker. The world thanks you. This is a new era of Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, a new, less racist era, right? We've had discussions with our manager recently that we've been going hard.
It's been a little rough, and need I remind you that our manager is Nick's alternate personality that tends to come out in a weird freak of nature full moon scenario.
Yes, and he did let us know that we've been like me especially, we've been picking on certain groups of people, and I'm like, that's fine. They can take a joke.
Right.
Think of the Jews. Okay, so look, they're an easy target. Unfortunately, right? They've been an easy target throughout history, but they can take a joke because, like, if they couldn't, by this point in time, they would have been wiped out by a people.
They're vaguely problematic, but not a bad point, I guess.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, it's like, Biden, he won the presidency, but Trump's not going to be around anymore. So as collectively as a nation, we have to be a little bit more careful about what we say. So, obviously we're doing a fantastic job of that already, right?
I haven't cussed once since this episode has began, and I've referenced the Jews only to raise them up.
Good. And if you're Jewish, let us know if that worked or not.
Yeah, see, look, I'm trying my best to change here, and I left out the part where I also was going to say, Hitler tried killing 6 million of them and couldn't wipe out all their people, then there's no way they're going to get wiped out. So that's good, right? I left that part out.
Yeah, and then brought it up again. Which it's hard to say. We're dancing a really weird gray area. Interesting start to this episode, but let's we're gonna try to get our energy back real quick. Let's do some horoscopes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let's move on. You can go first this time on the horoscope.
Yeah, you need to go sit in your corner and think about what you've done. Okay, chances are good that you will feel strong and confident today, Scorpio. It's a good time to try something you've never done before. You might be the right person to get things started, especially if it's about something you want to see changed. If you've never run for office before or taken a leadership role in another area, consider doing this. You have the power and popularity to make a real difference.
Look, I'm just going to come out right and say it. I don't like the fact that I brought up Hitler and then your horoscope's telling you to run for power.
Doesn't bode well. And you know what's even worse? Check out my stars, man. Success is a 4 out of 5.
Oh.
Hustle is a 3 out of 5. Vibe is a 4 out of 5. And for the first time, I think in my podcast history, my sex vibe is a 4 out of 5.
Wow, your stars are really on it today, man. Something's going on with you today.
Yep. And that be it a rise to fascism or just minor success in a modest career in podcasting and art.
Well, I'm happy for you. It sounds like you're having a good day. It sounds like your stars are aligning. If you were to run for office, I would request one thing from you.
What?
If you're going to take hints and pointers from, let's say, the Third Reich, right?
Okay.
Since we're on this topic,
Right.
Unfortunately. Leave the Jews out of it. They didn't do anything to anybody, right? Leave the retards out of it and the gypsies, right? The ones that they killed.
Why are you pointing a finger at me?
Because I don't want you to just I don't want you to be like Kylo Ren and be like, I'm going to finish what you started, like when you take office.
So you were the one who said if you ran for office and you got elected, you would put 80% of the population back in camps and you would turn our military force into monkeys with AK-47s because of their chimps. My bad. Because of their quote unquote fearsomely unpredictable nature. Yeah, they're unpredictable. I can't even control them. So that's when you know shit's gonna hit the fan. But look, I'm just saying, if you are gonna run for office and if you get elected into office of some kind, please still make concentration camps and like gas chambers and stuff, but fill them with furries. That's all I ask of you. Yeah, our manager would be proud. We went right from tolerance to genocide. And what is it? How long have we been recording? 6 minutes?
Yeah, that wasn't really well thought out by me, but I'm just telling you guys how I feel. So,
oh boy, there actually is a genocide going on right now. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, Armenians.
Oh man, those Armenians just love genocide.
It's
don't. Like the third time this has happened. I don't know what the hell is going on over there.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing. It's like, okay, if we're gonna be racy, we might as well bring to light what's going on. So our hearts go out to you if you are over there currently being taken out of your home.
Oh wait, hold on. So are the Armenians genociding somebody else, or
no? The Armenians
are
being killed like en masse.
Who? By who?
By a lot of names I truly cannot pronounce correctly.
That's fair. So it's just like another day in Europe or wherever that is.
Sure.
I don't know.
We'll go with that.
Where is Armenia? Is it in Europe? Eastern Europe, right?
Armenia. Let me make sure I get this right. It's actually an Asian country.
What?
Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't realize it was actually used to be part of the Soviet Union, I think. It's over. All this is going on. Okay, so the Armenians are getting genocided by Azerbaijan. I don't know. It's Azerbaijan. I think.
It doesn't. That means nothing to me. Look,
we're getting too political. I said my sense. You just do your thing.
Okay.
I'm getting flustered because I feel like I'm doing this wrong. I'm trying to do a good thing and I'm probably making it worse.
No, you did try to do good. You, Tasker, you're bringing awareness to it. I didn't know that they were on their third round of genocides. So that's. I mean, look, guys, stand up for yourselves. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take anything. It's ridiculous. It's almost 2021, and you're telling me you can't stand up to your government. Jesus Christ.
We all got a long way to go.
All right, let me do my horoscope here. It's good to dream, especially on days like today, Cancer. Expanding your mind and thinking of possibilities are positive ways to increase your knowledge. Give yourself time to think. Why not lie on your back and watch the clouds or stars? Let yourself dream about things that may not seem practical or possible. Many real things have come out of someone's dreams. Your creativity will flourish if you take the time.
Wow, maybe you should have made the album artwork.
That is a completely meaningless horoscope to me. I am one of the least creative people you'll ever meet. Okay, let's just move on to the stars. All right, so unfortunately, my sex is a 2 out of 5 today.
Oof.
That's bad.
Yep.
My hustle is a 4 out of 5. That's all right.
Cool.
Vibe is a 4 out of 5. I'm vibing hard, right?
Nice.
And my success is an average 3 out of 5.
Could be worse.
It could be a lot worse. I don't really care about sex today, so I don't care if it's a 2 out of 5, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the episode where both of us just have 1 out of 5s all across the board, and the episode's just a complete dumpster fire.
Yeah. It'll happen one day. I mean, mathematically, it's got to happen eventually.
Like they say, it's like, there's that whole theory, the monkey theory, where it's like, if you put like million monkeys on typewriters, they'll eventually write the complete works of Shakespeare.
Yes.
Technically, people are arguing that there's already a proof of concept for that, because what they did is they had a fish tank and they had a camera set up on it, and they programmed it so if the fish swam to certain parts of the fish tank, it would activate a control mechanism that would, in a sense, control a character in a game of Pokemon. And this fish in the fish tank beat the game of Pokemon. Like, yeah, because of Twitch and science.
Oh shit, man! Even fish are not immune to the weebiness of Pokemon.
Yeah, but it's a proof of concept of the million ape theory. Like, it could happen if a fish can beat Pokemon without being with the memory of literally 3 seconds. Like, anything's possible, man.
Anything is possible with math.
Yes, very, very kind of true, I think.
All right, so everybody, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Close Encounters.
Ugh.
All right. Now, for the rest of this month, we want to pay homage, right, to the Native Americans out there as some kind of, we're going to do like a Thanksgiving double feature episode special for our next 2 episodes, okay? Is this racist? We'll let you decide.
Yep. Yeah, a double feature, a double cryptid feature, basically, is what we're aiming at.
Yes, and both of these cryptids are going to be Native American in nature. Okay,
yeah.
And I say Native American, and it seems very long, and it seems like a hard word to make myself say, because you want to say Injun. You know what I mean?
We're doing a bang up job, but Thanksgiving is about, it started because we killed a shit ton of Native Americans, like we're talking, like there's a shit ton of genocides happening in the world right now.
Exactly. And so what our mindset here is, we're going to bring awareness to Native Americans and their plights on the reservations that we have so graciously given them. So that's what we're doing.
Ugh, I could like smell the smoke from the dumpster fire.
All right. But anyway, so today's episode is going to be near and dear to my heart personally, because we're covering fucking Skinwalkers finally. We're finally doing it.
Yeah. Oh, and you've, because at one point in your life, and I only say it's because you are no longer there, but you were up in Fresno for a little while. And I know that is primo Skinwalker territory, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, actually, Tasker, I found some digging. Well, actually, I found some information. So if you're anywhere, and this will come up later in the episode, if you're anywhere where you think a Skinwalker is, but you're not in 3 specific states, it's not a Skinwalker. And we'll get into why that is. So it could be other things, which I'll very briefly talk about. But in Fresno, I think I saw a different type of shapeshifter. Maybe a Fleshgate.
What the fuck?
Yes. That's something.
Sounds like a sex toy.
He kind of looks like one. He kind of looks like one of those real sex dolls.
Do we have to give the bona fide bannered warning? Don't fuck the monster.
Not in this one, but if we do a Fleshgate episode, yes, because he looks like a water weenie, with arms and legs, and we've all been there.
Now, listener, I know it's tempting. Don't do it. It's bad news.
Yeah, don't want to get seduced by these things, all right?
Good God almighty.
Now, I'm sure a lot of you out there have heard of Skinwalkers, and as stories about them online have been growing in popularity, right? You see a lot of stories on Reddit and 4chan. If any of you go on those on 4chan, then, like, what do you want? What do you want from me? Like a prize? You know what I mean? Like it's a dead site. But if you go on there, if you go on X, you'll see stories about Skinwalkers. So the popularity is rising. Some of you may know what it is, right? They're creepy. They're malicious. They'll take shape of whatever it takes to get you. Okay,
Ooh.
that's their main goal, is to get you.
Not liking that.
Now, so without further delay, I want you to go ahead and spark up a peace pipe, kick off your moccasins, right? Get all comfortable and shit. And then let's go ahead and pray to a buffalo, and let's just dive into the episode. All right.
Yeah,
Remember,
when
I'm
you're
paying homage.
when the manager comes back, I can't wait to hear what he has to say so far.
I'm paying homage to the Native American people by bringing up things that they do. Okay. They wear moccasins.
You know what? I can say for certain you do have the spirit.
I'm trying. I'm not trying to be malicious at all towards them. I want them to know that Uncle Nick, if I had the chance to live on a reservation with them, I wouldn't, but I would come visit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God, you just the things you say sometimes.
I'm trying to be nice. All right. I made a promise. I'm going to be nice. All right.
Remember, we're in season 2 now. We're in season 2. We're turning a new leaf over, trying to be more welcoming, accepting to all people.
All right. And I will be. I'm fine. All right. Native Americans are fine. All right.
All righty. Let's dive right into it then.
Okay, so you know how it goes, people, on these types of episodes. Well, now let's first begin by talking about what a skinwalker is. And for those who don't know, or if you do know what they are, you might learn something new here.
I don't know shit about these. I just know I know a little, like the vague. We'll get into it. I don't want to spoil anything.
Gotcha. All right. Well, skinwalkers, to put it simply, are evil witches or rogue shamans from Navajo culture, and specifically only Navajo culture. They use their spiritual and magical powers for malevolent purposes rather than benevolent ones.
You want to hear the most like white person thing I can say right now?
Yes.
Did you know I'm actually like 5% Navajo?
Jesus, here we go with your 1/32 Navajo looking ass. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I haven't done the what's that thing where you like spit in a tube and they like
don't do it, man. That's how they're storing your DNA. Don't fucking do that shit, man. That's how they get you.
That's right. I remember you were telling me that because they already have because everyone's like, that's how the government gets your face. They already have your face. It's called a driver's license and a passport. But
yeah,
to have your DNA though, it's like, I mean, can they really do a whole lot with that?
They can plant evidence on you for crimes you didn't commit.
Ooh.
And they can clone you.
So I hope it was worth it to figure out that you're 0.2% Native American, huh?
Yeah. Congratulations. Good job.
And I thought you would enjoy that. So yeah. Anyways,
Jesus, disgusting. All right. I mean, not the people. They're beautiful people. I mean, you're.
You know, I'll give you props.
Now, in the Navajo language, skinwalkers are called Yi Naldulish. Oh, fuck me, homie. Let me redo that whole fucking sentence. I practiced it all day today. Oh my God.
No.
So
the jitters.
All right, let me try again. In the Navajo language, skinwalkers are called Yi Naldushi. Now, Yi Naldushi translates to English roughly meaning by means of it, it goes on all fours.
Hey.
You know what I mean? Goes on all fours. Face down, ass up.
That's the way we like to. Don't fuck the monster.
Stop fucking it.
We're giving you the banner warning. Don't fuck it. It's a bad idea. And also, too, random side note, but is it me or does it sound like almost sounds Russian? Yi Nadlushi.
Nadlushi, yeah, definitely sounds Russian, which is a conspiracy within itself.
Oh, that Native Americans were invented by Russia in the 1700s.
Yep, and they were shipped over here.
Interesting theory. And I guess we could get, because what's that thing called where Alaska connects to Russia? There's a name for that.
It was a bridge, a land bridge. I forgot.
Yeah, there was a name for it, but that's actually a really interesting conspiracy. We'll have to look into that, but not today.
It's important to mention right here that keep in mind the fact that the Navajo are only in certain states of the United States. Okay, they call it the Navajo Nation, right? Like it's a fucking like a community that's a fan base of a band, right? They call it Navajo Nation, right? Which is disrespectful of me to say because that's actually what they're called. All right, it's the Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
And so essentially, here's what's going on, guys. If you live in Washington or Kentucky or Pennsylvania and you hear some of this information in this episode and you think to yourself, oh, hey, that sounds familiar. I have a skinwalker in my neighborhood. Well, guess what? You're fucking wrong. All right. And you've literally never been more wrong in your entire life. Okay.
It's a wake up call.
Skinwalkers can only be found in Navajo territories and states. So that would only be Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. And spoiler for all the fans out there, some of you probably have known from hints now that I no longer live in California. I'm not going to say which state I live in, but I live in one of those 3 states, all right? So I'm pretty much fucked.
Yeah, no, you're in primo territory for this. And I remember actually before you moved, that was the first thing you told me. It's like, dude, I'm going to the Skinwalker.
I was so excited, and now I'm terrified.
Oh, yeah. You've been saying like, yeah, you had this whole plan in California while you were safe. You were like, no, it'll be cool. I'll get like my flashlight and stuff. I'll go out at night. I'm going to go hunting for them and stuff like that. Yeah, not so much fun now that you're there, right?
Nope. Now, look, even Nick's a pussy sometimes. I'm not going to go out there and look for a skinwalker because, as you'll see later in this episode, a skinwalker might come looking for me, but we'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing you are seeing, if you don't live in one of these states, is probably the goat man or a flesh gate, which we can talk about another time in a different episode. I have plans to do both, but it's equally as scary as a skinwalker, so good fucking luck, all right?
Yeah, just by the name, goat man or flesh gate, that doesn't fill me with confidence.
No, they're horrifying, especially the goat man. The goat man's fucking terrifying.
Dude, goats are fucking scary. Whenever there's a goat head on anything other than a goat body, it's one of the scariest shits you can see.
Absolutely. Anyway, so I just needed to get that little aside out. Remember, you have to be in Arizona, New Mexico, or Utah in order to experience this. I just wanted to get that out there because it's a common misconception and I'm hungover. All right, I'm doing it. I said it.
But that's good to know. So we can kind of hone it. We want to make sure when you're being completely decimated by a creature, you want to know you know exactly what's happening to you.
Yeah, because there's multiple shape-shifting creatures out there that could be attacking you. Luckily for you, if you don't live in one of these 3 states, it's probably not a skinwalker. So you can at least narrow it down a little bit, right?
You're going to hate me for this, but I've never actually seen the movie The Thing.
You never seen any of them? You never seen
there's more
any
than
of them?
one?
I mean, like there's the one from the 50s, and then there's the remake, the John Carpenter one. That's the famous one, and then there was some shitty one from like 2011.
Yeah, all I know is that with the first one, that's the one where they use like claymation a lot, like how they did in original Evil Dead. I did see, but The Thing is that close, approximate to a skinwalker kind of deal? Or is that
I would say you can compare it as like and if listeners, if you have seen any of the Thing movies, like hopefully you've seen the John Carpenter one, you know how the Thing assimilates to the humans. It's comparable because you can kind of see how like you can't trust anybody, but the way they do it's different. And it's a different creature, obviously. But like, yeah, that's a good point, Tasker. That's a good little visual there with the assimilation. Yeah.
Okay, so it's more like, so if you've seen The Thing, it's like one could say it took inspiration from what a skinwalker is, sort of.
I could see that. See that. Although white people knowing about skinwalkers wasn't really popularized till like the 90s. So I don't know. I think that you know what it is, man. It's a universal subconscious. It's this universal consciousness. People know that there's shape-shifting beings out there. Right? They're trying to fool you. One of them is always in office as our president. Isn't that fun? So congratulations.
Do you know there's a short story that has a theory, if we're just talking briefly on universal consciousness, that idea that actually humanity in and of itself is a god in the making, and that we are actually all completely unified, and that we both are everyone and just one person at the same time. And that once we figure out how to unite 100%, that's our next level of ascension. And then we're going to keep going until eventually we achieve godhood and invent our own universe.
That sounds like some hippy dippy bullshit to me, man.
Yeah, that might be too sober of a conversation for now.
Now, believe it or not, there are various types of skinwalkers in Navajo lore. The one we are focusing on today is of the most common variety, and also it is known as Anti-Jni by the Navajo people. Okay, so that's the specific name for this specific type of skinwalker that we're going to be covering today.
Okay, so there's different types of, so skinwalker is more of a blanket term of different species of it, right?
Yes. I refuse to call it Anti-Jni the entire time, so I will be referring to it as from the blanket term skinwalker. Okay. Because I am not Navajo.
Yeah, I'm honestly not complaining. I'm gonna stumble over that too. Anti-Jni. Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm sorry, Native American listeners, I can't do it.
Yeah, even though he's 1/100th fucking Navajo.
And actually, as that correction, like from that one video, it's like, no, it's not that I can't do it. It's like, are you sure you can't or you won't? I won't.
I won't do it. Not much is known about the specifics of skinwalkers, and this is mainly due to the fact that the Navajo people are very reluctant to share information on skinwalkers with non-Navajo people.
Well,
they are
yeah.
even sometimes hesitant to share information on skinwalkers with those they don't trust, even among their own tribe.
Well, yeah, dude. Remember what happened the last time they trusted white people?
Oh, I remember. Yeah. I remember. Every time I pass through Vegas, I remember.
God damn it. Yeah. So, even though within their people, though, this is already, even then, it's still kind of like a kind of thing to talk about.
You don't want to, you don't talk about it, even amongst the tribe. It's a taboo subject because it's very real. It's a very real thing that's happening at these reservations and has been happening since before the reservations.
Yeah. What's that quote where it's like, early
to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Is that what you were thinking?
No, but that's decent advice. What is the version of that is early to rise, early to bed makes a man healthy, but socially dead.
I know what that's like. Yes.
Animaniacs, actually, they came up with that. But no, that's not what I'm thinking of. The one where it's like to say it's, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like to say the devil's name is to invoke him or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So you're right. So you don't want to talk about it. And we'll get a little bit more into that later in the episode, but you're absolutely right. That's a good quote to put it that.
Yeah, no, I'm with it, man. Where it's like, if you believe in something, it's like, you don't even want to talk about it because you don't want to fucking accidentally. It's that whole, like we talked even about ghosts. Fearing them is half the step to experiencing them. So it's like, I don't blame them for being just like, I don't even want to fucking talk about it.
If you make something your reality by thinking about it, it's bound to happen, no matter what it is. That's just the way the universe works. That's the way magic works. And that's the way that our lives work. So if you don't want something to happen, stop thinking about it.
It's a good start.
Now, luckily, we do know a decent amount about the Anti-Jni. Jesus. It sounds like they just sneeze and like write it down.
No comment.
Luckily, we do know a decent amount about insert a variety of skinwalker here.
About specific skinwalker variety number 1.
Yes. And we will be focusing on them today, like I said. So how in the hell do these people become skinwalkers in the first place? And that's a very good question, and I'm glad I asked.
Good for you.
Now, in Navajo culture. Jesus, man, I need a fucking Bloody Mary. All right.
You know that if you have the means.
I don't. In Navajo culture, there are members of the community who are more in tune with the spiritual and magical realms of our reality. And for the most part, these special members of the tribe use their powers to heal and guide other members of the tribe. And some of them go on to be great spiritual healers, and others may go on to be shamanistic in nature. And as a quick, brief explanation, shamans enter another state of consciousness through methods like psychedelic drugs, music, trances, etc., in order to commune with the spiritual realm. And this allows them to help other members of the tribe to communicate with loved ones who have died, or to seek guidance from the spirit realm on various issues, among many other duties. So these are usually the two paths that we'll say benevolent, magical Native Americans take, right? In Navajo culture.
I can't help but feel we kind of briefly went over like, opening your consciousness and stuff like that using like drugs, trances. It was probably in one of our really early episodes, but I feel like we kind of went over that of like, to kind of break that wall down, and there's different things you can do, and like, so, but also too, it's dangerous because you're opening yourself, like we even said with like exorcisms and stuff like that. It's like when you, or just Ouija boards in general, just opening that wall. It's like, yes, it creates a gateway to figure and solve a lot of things for benevolent purposes, but also opens the door for risky things. And that's why you got to be a goddamn pro.
Exactly. Anybody can go into a trance through various methods that will change your state of consciousness, right? Anybody can do that and open their third eye and see into the spiritual realm. But it, like Tasker said, it takes a pro to navigate through it. And that's what these special members of the tribe can do, is they can navigate the realm without any negative consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes them different from the others. Now, so like we said before, these more spiritually adept members of the Navajo tribe will often use their powers for good, but not all of them.
So also too, now that we've kind of established that skinwalkers were people at one point, that's another reason why it's probably a really sore subject within actual Navajo groups, is because it's like, dude, fuck, your relative might have been turned into a skinwalker and like murdered a couple people and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's not something you want to talk about willy-nilly. That's like, proudly talking about your step cousin who is in jail for killing 4 people.
What are you doing, step cousin?
Oh, that is such a bad family member. But yeah, it's kind of in that realm where it's like there's so much tragedy surrounding it. That's kind of why they're not just trying to be dicks, but it's just, that's a hard thing to talk about.
Absolutely. And that's a good point. I want you all to picture something. I want you to picture sitting on your reservation, getting drunk at noon.
Way to go.
Right. Hanging out by your teepee or whatever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, some fucking white fuckboy walks up to you in your own house, like in your own reservation, and starts asking you about fucking skinwalkers. And how do you think you're going to react?
When you put it that way, yeah, like I'd be pissed too.
It's not only is it a sore subject, it's probably annoying as shit to have to explain to white people what's going on the reservation, because it's terrible.
Yeah, you're going through your day. I'm just picturing, like the shaved sides of your head, like the fade kind of stuff, and wearing like the Lululemon pants and shit.
Black nail polish, and walking up to him like, "Hey man, so
the fucker skinwalkers, bro. Like, I'm just curious,
you
man.
Guys got any on here, or can I talk to one?"
I appreciated that mental image.
Don't worry, I wouldn't, even though I have the opportunity to do so, living in the state I do, I will not do it out of respect for their people. Now, you see, as you can imagine, having these kinds of powers can be very tempting, right? Tempting, and the easiest way to put it for me, for you guys, is tempting to turn to the dark side, if you will. Right?
Ooh, so we have some Jedi logic actually here.
We do. We have some Star Wars analogies coming up. Brace yourselves. Yes, I like Star Wars. All right, Nick's not 100% against like the media and fandoms, right? Nick likes things too. He can like things.
We're all allowed to.
Yeah, I just don't like anime, and I don't like it when people talk about it. But Star Wars, on the other hand, is a perfect analogy for the situation. So I want you to think about it, right? You have the ability to commune with the spiritual realm and have magic powers. If you get wronged by somebody, or if you just start having like this itchy trigger finger, so to speak, and you can essentially get away with murder, would you do it? by using magical powers and communing with the spiritual realm and doing certain things? Would you do it?
Are you asking me, or is that rhetorical?
I'm asking you. It was intended to be rhetorical, but now I'm asking you to put you on the spot.
Oh, thank you, man. I would probably say, although I'm sure in certain circumstances it would be tempting, I feel like the market leaves on your soul. It's like that whole thing of like, you know, you may get away with it. It's like if you ever shoplifted, it's like, I bet it's a huge thrill and it's like super cool. But like, actually, that's a bad example because shoplifting's pretty minor unless you're stealing like hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise. Well, then you'll probably get caught. Like even with serial killers, most of the time they end up getting caught and eventually it comes back to get you. And I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of I'm a little bit more of a believer in karma than I think I give myself credit for. Like, I just think what goes around comes around. And I feel like, yes, you could get away with it because you're cheating and using magic powers, but that has a funny way of like turning around on you later on.
Okay, that's fair. And that's an answer that somebody should give.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So that's respectable.
Why? What's your answer to it? You can decline to comment.
No, I'll comment. Yeah, fuck yeah, I'll do it. I don't care. Yeah, look, if I have magical powers, don't cross me. That's all I'm gonna say.
That is it'll be like I never watched the movie because I heard it was bad. Did you ever you know about Brightburn, right?
Yes.
Where it's like evil Superman. Would that be you?
Kind of. I'd be like Bizarro, dude. I'd just be like, fucking.
And hey, man, if that happens, I'll continue the podcast and it'll just be a Bizarro Nick Superman podcast from now on.
That sounds fine to me. That sounds good. It's literally not that far off already.
I mean, all I got to say, man, is if you get those powers, you better be fucking interesting about it, man. Give me content.
But look, everybody, the point is, there are some of these spiritually gifted members of the Navajo tribe who become corrupted by the power and use their abilities for evil rituals and murderous purposes. That's just the name of the game.
Sith.
The Sith. Yes, they are the Sith in this situation. Those who become corrupted are generally referred to as witches within the community, but are not called skinwalkers until certain criteria is met, which we will get into momentarily. But as an important side note, and I'm just saying this in general, not all witches are bad. Remember, I, for one, consider myself to be a witch, and there are dozens of us, right? There are dozens of witches in this world.
Wouldn't it be wizard?
No, I mean, technically, if you like Lord of the Rings and shit, yes. But a witch is not afraid to call himself a witch.
That's very progressive of you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I have a Tumblr.
You can't see it, but Nick is actually currently dyeing his hair blue as we speak.
And pink.
And pink, of course.
Okay, now that we have some background out of the way, let's get into the juicy bits, right? We're going to get into the traits, the abilities of the Skinwalker. Basically, the why you should hope to never run into one of these guys in the woods at night portion of the episode.
Ooh. See, it doesn't help that we're getting it. I had a nightmare last night that was really dumb, but it was still scary. Like most nightmares are, it's like you look back on it and you remember it and you're like, I don't know why that was spooky, but it's like, when you got your dream internal surround soundtrack and shit, like, and I don't know. I feel like I only get nightmares around weird episodes like these.
It's because it's a very real fear. Luckily for you, it's not. You live in California, right? So you're good to go.
Hell yeah.
But me, I could be hanging out in my bed one day, look out the window and see a fucking Skinwalker. And you'll like I keep alluding to this, but you'll see why later in the episode. You'll see why this episode's freaking even me out a little bit. Yeah, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. So we've done the overview, but now we're at okay, this is why they're scary.
Exactly. Now, first off, and perhaps the most commonly known trait about them is their ability to shapeshift. And yes, skinwalkers can shapeshift, but it would be incorrect to call them shapeshifters technically if you want to get all technical about it. And I take this shit very seriously, okay? I take cryptids and abilities very seriously. So yes, I'm going to get into it a little bit. All right, I'm going to be a little fucking hair splitty right now.
All right, let's hear it.
So shapeshifters generally can turn into one specific form, right? When we think of were-jaguars, werewolves, were-bears, were-skunks, were-lizards, right? When we think of shit like that, that's a
Right.
shapeshifter, technically. When we think of therianthropes as well, therians are humans who think that they can turn into other animals spiritually. I knew one in high school. It was weird. It was a weird time in my life. Yeah, I knew a therianthrope. She thought she could turn into a wolf spiritually, right? So that's a shapeshifter.
Is that like that video of the guy where he's like, on all planes except physical, I am a wolf. And it's just like him barking.
Yes, actually, he's probably a therianthrope. For a brief time in high school, I thought I was a saber-tooth therian. It was, okay, let's move on. Anyway, so those are shapeshifters, okay? They turn into one form. But skinwalkers, on the other hand, can turn into various types of animals through the use of witchcraft. Negative witchcraft.
So that's interesting. So a shapeshifter, by definition, can they only turn into one thing? Or is it possible? So, and skinwalkers can turn to whatever you want. Is that a like deadlocked difference, like definition wise?
Other people will tell you no. Some other people will say shapeshifters is a general umbrella term for being able to turn into things in general. But shapeshifters, the true definition is that they can only turn into one other thing. So like when we think of frog therians, or when we think of dragon therians, or maybe even a mosquito therian, right? When we think of all these people who can shapeshift, aware polar bear, right? Nobody's ever thought of that, but it probably exists.
That's right. I forgot we're doing your Nick Salon segment because we're splitting hairs, like you said.
Yes. I get very passionate about this subject. All you got to know is, yes, they are shapeshifters, but no, it's inappropriate to just call them shapeshifters. You should call them skinwalkers.
Got it.
Give them the credit that they deserve because they're using very difficult magic to turn into different types of animals. Magic is not easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they had to throw away their pure soul for this. So, it's like being a doctor and demanding to be called a doctor,
That's a fucking good way to put it. Yes, exactly.
Sick.
Now, the most common form that they take is that of a coyote. And it is not known for sure why they prefer this form over others, but it should be pointed out that coyotes are generally seen as tricksters in a lot of different Native American lores. So there might be a correlation there. Or it could do with their agility, too. They're very fast, and they're very sneaky little guys, sneaky bastards.
So if you see a coyote that, like, dead in the road because it got hit by a car, is it possible to be a skinwalker, or would they probably return to their human forms when they get killed?
That's what I would imagine. Yeah, they would return to their human form. So if you ever see a naked dude, red skin, laying in the middle of the road, ran over, probably got hit as an animal, turned into a human afterwards. Look, why do they even call them redskin? That's so racist.
It's like that's similar, like why some people call people of Asian culture to be yellow skin. It's a super like presumptuous thing, and it's meant to be offensive. It's said to make fun of them, basically.
Oh, I see. So every time I say redskin, it's racist?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, and it's just a kind of hilarious. No, it's sad, but how we had a football team in the NFL called the Redskins for a very long time, which
yes,
they did recently change that, I think.
Because the SJ Dubs can't fucking leave anything alone. All right? This is American culture, goddammit. We came out on top, all right? All right, no, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Look, yes, I know it's racist. Haha, redskin. Yeah, it's funny. Look, I still say it because it's funny. All right, and you can't stop me. You guys can't stop me from saying redskin. All right.
We'll give you the benefit of the subject matter and saying that, you know what, and for what we're talking about, being problematic doesn't mean it. You're right. No, I'm fucking it up. Let's just go.
All right. Now, other forms that skinwalkers can take include birds and deer. You know what? It's actually pretty much any animal that they want. But you have to remember one thing. they are shape-shifting for the purpose to blend in to do harm to others. So yes, they can technically turn into a fucking lion, but if you were to see a lion in the plains of New Mexico or Utah, would you find that a little bit out of the ordinary?
So they have to be a little smart about it, because if it's a little too out there, that's just exposing themselves.
Precisely. And the reason that they take on these common shapes that we see, right? The coyote, birds, deer, snake sometimes, is because those things are seen in the deserts and chaparrals of these 3 states. They have to blend in.
Interesting. So, yeah. So if you are a skinwalker or any of that stuff, you got to be savvy about the natural wildlife, which if they are truly Native American, they would be.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're letting generations of their people down.
Yeah, basically.
Now, next up, we have the most terrifying part for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you who know about this, the part that intrigued me the most when I first learned about skinwalkers way back in the day. And that is, of course, the fact that they can shapeshift into other humans.
There's a piece from Twitter that I think is the best way to kick this segment off, because I actually glossed through the outline today and figured this out. That's not true at all. I just saw skinwalkers. I'm like, oh, I know something about that.
I almost had a stroke thinking you read the outline ahead of time.
Yeah. Nope. That's, new logo.
Same you.
Same me. Yeah. Thank you for saving that. I think I just stroked out too. See, oh man, we got to stop drinking before the podcast. Okay. Anyway, so this is a tweet from @JakeSymbol that says, I'm sick of pointing a gun at my dad through my window at 2 a.m. as he pleads, come on, Jake, just let your old paw in. I'm tired. And replying, you're not my dad. He's asleep in the other room. I hear him snoring. And then watching his expression go sour as he turns back towards the woods.
Exactly. That is why this is the most terrifying part for me. We've heard stories online, I'm sure some of us have at least, about skinwalkers and them replicating their family members. So let's get a little bit into it. All right. Let's get a little spooky. Remember, put that peace pipe down, because right now that's going to be a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, oftentimes, a skinwalker will turn into another human to lure the intended victim into a false sense of comfort or a trap in order to harm them. Now, yes, that is spooky, but the fucking spookiest part of the whole thing is that they can mimic the voice of the person that they take the shape of as well. And they can also mimic the sounds of an animal, whatever form they take.
Fuck. So this is like some horror movie-esque type of power right here. And like I said, I think the thing that's so scary about that previous story is like, yes, seeing them mimic somebody you know, but then when you call them out on it and just watch the facade just drop and them just like giving you that look of like, and
like, I'll get you. Yeah. It's fucking creepy, man.
To me, that's one of the scariest parts of psychopathy is when it shows its face, of when it's like the whole, you realize not only it's been an act, but they're so good at the act that it's like the minute you see it drop, it's like a complete like 180.
Yeah, and it's super similar to Skinwalkers. It's fucking horrifying.
It's a lot like what's his face? Serial killer, where he was known for being like the attractive dude.
Ted Bundy?
Ted Bundy, yeah. Where and there's like photos of him where it's like, they when the jury finally convicted him on it, because he was a lawyer, so he tried to like charm his way out of it, and they finally got him. And then they say in that last minute, he finally just loses his shit and screams like, the jury's wrong. And like they caught a photo, and it's like that minute where all the makeup, the mask is just gone. And you see, like the quote was, it was the minute you see the monster that was within.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. So cool. Dude, Ted Bundy was my fucking look. If I was gay and lived in this time, oh my goodness.
You'd be sending him letters.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There was another story. I don't know how true it was, but somebody, they're like, yeah, apparently my dad actually knew Ted Bundy when he was in college. And every morning he'd come in and be like, hey, how's the Monday, Bundy? Or something like that. Or how's the Monday, Bundy? And he's like, yeah, he's surprised he wasn't on his murder list.
Yeah, I would have. Look, I'm not even a serial killer. I'd still kill somebody if they said that shit to me.
Pretty crazy. You never know.
But yes, Tasker's 100% right. This is the same thing. So, like, if you call them out on this, mimicking a family member of yours, they will know that the jig is up and they're not going to be fucking happy about it. Okay.
That's so fucking scary, dude.
I know. Even I'm getting a little creeped out. Skinwalkers is one of those things that really creeps me out, especially now that I'm in their fucking den.
Yeah, well, it's like, and also too, it's like, who's to say that, like, you're not going through, suddenly you get like a knock on the door, or like you hear something outside the window. It's like, like a relative, like your mom or your dad, just out there, be like, hey, I came into town, like, can you let me in? And you're like, hold on,
dude. If that happens to me tonight, I'm gonna fucking shit myself, and I'm gonna live stream it on YouTube. All right. So if you guys see that, if you guys are subscribed and you see that Close Encounters goes live on YouTube, please click on it, because it'll be me shitting myself in a closet. All right.
Just you with like your camera, like full, like Blair Witch style, and then like you keep on like going up and down to like your face, and then like down to like your ass, like near your pants. And
that's fucking gross. But I swear I will. If that happens to me, all right, creepy. But yes, you're right. So now how do they do this, right? So the Skinwalker can turn into a human if they meet eyes with the person they intend to shapeshift into. And as they say, right, the eyes are the window to the soul.
Damn right. Well, okay, so they actually probably couldn't be able to mimic like relatives if they didn't live in where you're living, because if they're only active in certain states, then they wouldn't be able to do that, right?
It's a very centralized problem, right? Skinwalkers. So
okay,
but so it's not as much of a problem as it is for. I mean, it could be like, what if they turn into one of? Because I have coworkers that I know now here. I have other family members here. So it could turn into that. And so basically how a Skinwalker operates is they will first find their target, right? Like, let's say I'm the target, or let's say you live in Utah or Arizona or New Mexico or something, and you're the target, right? Tasker is the target. What the Skinwalker will do first is do what any good serial killer will do. They will stalk their victim for long periods of time, right? Because they're meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
And I admire that. Anyway, so
good addition.
So they'll stalk you for a while. They'll find out who you interact with the most. And they'll also find out when that person is gone, because they don't want things to happen like they did in that little story you read. They don't want to be found out. So essentially, let's say you're hanging out. You're playing video games, or you're doing artwork, or fucking fapping to hentai, whatever you do in your free time, right? They're looking through your window at you, right?
They can turn into like a bird too, so they could just like be chilling.
They could be chilling. They could be a bird. They could be like a coyote in your backyard. I know coyotes are in California, but they're not. Whatever. Anyway, the point is, they're watching you. They're stalking you. But they'll also see if your mom leaves the house at any time, or your dad, or your relative, or your significant other. It doesn't matter who it is. They'll be watching to see when these people leave the house. And then when they do leave the house, that's when they'll take shape, because they can just be like a bird and look into your family member's eye and turn into them when they want to. They basically stored the ability to do that.
So if someone you know and love is like, oh, hold on, I got to go to the store. You're like, okay. Then they go, and then suddenly you hear the knock and they're like, oh shit, like I forgot something. Can you let me in?
Never let them in. That's what I'm getting at here. That is exactly what they'll do, is they'll find the perfect opportunity to strike when they leave. Never let them in. I don't care if your fucking 90-year-old grandmother was going out to the store while you're playing video games, and for some reason, why are you making your grandma go, huh? First off, that's fucked up. Second of all, but if she leaves and then she, a couple minutes later, she knocks on the door and is like, excuse me, I seem to have forgotten my prescription pills. First off, what I want you to do is go to the window and make sure the car is there. Right. If the car is not there, don't let the bitch in. All right. You don't want to do that.
Oh yeah. You could, your next, you could do like the Home Alone thing where you just open the window and just chuck a brick out.
Yeah. Nail her with a brick. So it's very scary. It's very horrifying to think that you can feel so comfortable in your house, but you might not be with who you think you are.
Interesting. Now I gotta ask, and I mean, you know me, I don't read anything. So what happens when they do get in? Like if you do open the door and a skinwalker is now inside your home, what next?
Now, are we under the assumption that we know they're a skinwalker, or are we under the assumption that we don't know?
That they tricked you and you didn't know better and you open the door and you let them in. Are we getting, is that in the outline later, or is this something that we could talk about now?
This is something we can talk about now. We could touch on it later, but let's talk about it right now because we transitioned pretty well. So here's the end goal with skinwalkers. There's two separate paths we can take. One is a path of revenge. Did you do something to piss off this person? Normally, the revenge paths go to people in the reservation, people that they actually interact with a lot in their human form.
So if you were that fuck boy that walked in, like, hey man, we skinwalker, you're probably gonna get it.
I'm probably gonna die. All right. Revenge is a big one. If you interact with them and you wrong them in any way, and because they're very spiteful people, skinwalkers.
I see. So could it also be like if you're related to somebody who maybe fucked them over? Because I don't know, dude, can skinwalkers like live longer than normal people?
No,
or are they still bound?
They're still mortal. So except for their abilities, they're still mortal. They're just harder to kill, but they'll die of old age.
Interesting.
So
okay. My mental image has been completely wrong. I was thinking, what are those things where it's like they look like walking white pants?
Oh, the Fresno Nightwalkers.
Nightwalkers. Okay. No, I was getting those mixed up for a second. Okay.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
that changes a lot. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, revenge is the first path.
Sorry, to all of our savvy listeners, they probably like from like the beginning of it, like, you fucking idiot. Like Fresno Skinwalkers. Like, what? Oh my God. How far are we into this episode? Oh, an hour. God damn it. Okay.
Damn, bro. Look, that's why I do the research, man. You don't have to know this shit. Look, we've said it from day one. You're learning just as much as our listeners are, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I caught it because, oh, God damn it. Wow. Okay.
Dude, the Fresno Nightwalkers are completely benevolent and adorable.
Oh, God. They look creepy, but there was that one where it's like, remember, he had like a little kid one with him.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome, man. If you guys haven't seen it, look up the Fresno Nightwalkers on YouTube. It's adorable. It's one of the cutest cryptids out there.
So fuck me. Another stroke, man. So at least, if anything, my fuck up can be used as a good illustration of what they are and what they aren't, and how we cannot confuse the two together.
Wait, hold on. You were thinking that Native Americans were turning into like walking pants?
I don't know how any of this shit works. It's just
I don't know either. No, I do know. All right, okay. But let's keep talking about what happens if they come into your house and they actually trick you.
Okay.
So revenge, number one. But the second thing is that, believe it or not, the Navajo, not the Navajo, well, kind of. The Skinwalkers are pretty fucked up. They can utilize pieces of humans for their spells or their poisons and potions and all that such good stuff. But they also, some of them like to eat other people.
Ooh.
So if you didn't do anything to piss them off, but you caught their attention somehow, or they're just out on kind of like a prowl type thing, you could just be in the wrong place at the wrong time and get killed.
Oof. So do they just... Well, because that's another interesting and important factor is they're human. So in killing you, there isn't some like magical stuff. They could just straight up just stab you to death.
They could stab you to death. And there's not like any super weird, there's not like a super creepy, weird way that they'll kill you unless they're like in animal form or something. But I want you guys to picture if they got into your house by tricking you as a family member, imagine being stabbed to death by like your sister or something, or your mom.
So especially if you don't know jack squat about skinwalkers, all you're thinking is what happened, what went wrong.
What did I do? Is it because I didn't do the dishes? No. I'm sorry.
That's really fucking creepy though. Cause like, I don't know. Did you ever watch, was it the two of us that watched it together? It Follows?
Yes, we watched that together.
That's right. Yeah. See, now I was a little disappointed because that was like one of those things where it's if you guys don't know what it is, it's a demon or whatever the fuck that follows you at a walking pace. So it's easy to evade, but it's following you forever, including when you're sleeping. So you have to be like super careful about all that. But like when the scene, they did have a scene in the movie where it does finally get to you. And that's kind of, to me, always the most interesting part of the monster is, avoiding it and all this stuff. But what happens when it gets to you? And it was just like, okay, spoiler. So if you haven't seen the movie, I just hit your 15-second skip button right now. Right now. But when it gets to you, it's like you just covered in semen and it just like shakes your arms. Like that's, I don't know. That was a little anticlimactic, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a low budget movie. So I think they tried to do what they could with the budget they had, but it was
pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
But okay, so Skinwalker, though, basically it's like essentially you'll be just murdered, like in however form they choose, because a Skinwalker is in fact still immortal. And you basically will just get killed by a loved one, essentially, is that's what it's going to feel like in your final moments. Not very fun.
Not fun at all. And you might get eaten too. So
yeah, nice. Or salvaged for magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad we talked about this because, like I said, my notion of this whole thing was I thought they were fucking night walkers or whatever the fuck.
Nah, man, they didn't. Man, Fresno night walkers didn't do nothing to no one, man.
Nah, they're just the vibe. And it's even funny, even like the videos, like they look like they're kind of almost like they have like earbuds in and they're just like, they have like little feet they're walking to.
It's like the opening to Saturday Night Fever, dude. They're just kind of like walking down the street, Bee Gees are playing. Yeah.
Well, see, we're learning so much today. And by we, I mean me.
Yes. Yes. And that's what I'm here for. I'm happy to do it. I want to open your fucking third eye.
And of course, for any of you expecting me to like refute all this stuff, this is Native American lore stuff. I mean, this is also a territory I choose not to fuck with, because what is every haunting but an area that's a Native American burial ground? Like this is the too spooky for me territory where I'm like, I don't even want to argue this.
And that's fine, because I'm arguing for it. And that's why I feel justified in making fun of them, because I'm technically taking their side. So I can make fun of them a little bit.
Yeah. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of looking someone in the eyes, Skinwalkers don't only do this to transform into another human. Apparently, they can also control one's actions by looking them in the eyes. So by using this technique, perhaps they could use someone to do their evil bidding and no one would be aware who the true perpetrator was.
Damn. So basically, your stepsister can come in, look you right in the eye, and this one guy's like, oh, it's finally happening.
He's like, oh, she's going to get stuck in the washing machine.
But instead, guess what? Now you're in mind control, and now you're an accomplice to murder.
Exactly. So there's really no winning when running into these guys.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
And finally, as mentioned before, they are adept at spiritual practices and magic, specifically black witchcraft. And this includes practices like curses and poisonings. Now, curses being more on the magical side, and poisonings being more on the herbology side. So sometimes Skinwalkers will kill directly, and other times they will rely more heavily on their magical abilities to curse, harm, or kill the target.
So I gotta say then, what would be the difference between a Skinwalker versus just like a malicious witch who just wants to fuck people over? Is it the transforming thing, or are witches that are non-Navajo in nature capable of something similar?
I believe personally that there's something special about our Native American friends. Their attunement with nature that allows the witches to transform into animals. I don't think it's actually possible for a witch like myself to learn this ability. I'm not close enough to nature to do that.
I see. So there is a sort of closeness to nature that you need in your blood in order to pull off full-blown Skinwalker. So if you go and wear your fursuit and then curse people and harvest their organs, you're not a Skinwalker. You're just a witch.
You're just a fucking furry.
It's a good distinction, though. Good to know.
And Skinwalkers are able to run great distances, even in their human forms, which is probably the most terrifying part. They are actually said to be able to run up to 200 miles in one go without a break.
And that's why they get away with it, huh?
Yeah, easy. You go kill, you run. Nobody's going to catch you. Nobody's going to be like, oh, well, he wasn't around. Like, who's around the scene of the crime? Fucking nobody.
Which actually makes me wonder too. So when somebody is a skinwalker, are they still a part of their respective Navajo group, or are they completely Ronin, like rogue?
We'll get into it very briefly later, but I will say they're shunned. They're very shunned by their tribe and on their specific reservation. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but yeah, they're not like not all as well with the tribe. If they know who it is, they're not happy about it.
So they can do it undetected, and they can be a skinwalker, and just people don't know it.
Yeah, they can, but their
like
tribesmen, yeah, exactly. Their tribe folk are going to be like, yeah, there's something up with that guy,
They'll figure it out. Okay, interesting.
Also, another little fact here: skinwalkers like to hang out in graveyards. And this is not because they're goth. Trust me, I would know. And I would understand in that case if they were.
Right.
It actually is because they dig up dead bodies often in order to scavenge bones from the corpse, which they grind up and use in their poisonous witchy brews.
Fun stuff. Just having a grand old jolly time, with dead body parts all day, every day.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like heaven.
So if you were born Native American, you would probably be a skinwalker, right?
Oh, easily. Dude, I would hands down. So there's a ritual. I was going to get into this later in the episode, but there is a ritual that is said to take place by former skinwalkers to new ones who want to become skinwalkers.
So it is like the Sith. You need like a Sith Lord to become the apprentice.
Yes. I would have hands down joined that fucking program. I would be so down with becoming a skinwalker. Man, that would be so cool.
Interesting. And of course, so skinwalker goals can range from, like you said, like just straight up revenge and feeling like, so there's some of them that might even have a, like, I'm doing this for doing the things that my people won't, versus there's also ones that are just straight up just murderous, like sociopaths who just want to kill things, right?
Yes. And a lot of the times it's the latter. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But yes, you're right. Sometimes there are some rogue tribes folk who take matters into their own hands, for lack of a better phrase. And they'll just go rogue and turn into animals and just fucking kill people.
Interesting. Because of okay. That's pretty cool and scary.
It's freaky. Now, next up, we're going to talk about how to spot a skinwalker, both in their animal form and their human form. And just keep in mind, folks, this is a notebook section, all right? This is a section that is going to save your life if you live in one of these states or plan to move to one.
Mm-hmm. So if you have your case file on, like, what is it, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, if this isn't written in there, like, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you have a case file then if you don't have this in it?
Yeah, that's just kind of weird and unnecessarily professional.
Yeah, it's just unprepared.
Yeah. Now, first thing, we're going to talk about how to spot them in their animal form. So, if you see an animal following you, especially an animal that would usually run the opposite direction from a human, that might be a skinwalker in these territories. Remember, keep in mind that we're in skinwalker territory hypothetically right now, except for me, I'm actually in it.
So, animals being unusually ballsy, not a good sign.
Yes. And also, this is especially true if the animal following you is doing so from a high ground, like Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't go into this expecting so many Star Wars references.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's poetic.
Now, one last thing about this specific animal. Let's say we're talking about a coyote. Okay. Let's say a coyote's following you, which is unlikely because coyotes are nature's pussy. Okay. But this is only true if they're in a pack, or if they're not in a pack. If they're in a pack, normally they'll follow humans. But let's say there's a lone coyote following you. That's very unusual. Okay. So if you see a lone coyote or like an animal that usually travels in a pack following you, that's highly suspicious. And I would run a little faster.
So that's a good point of like, well, I mean, and this is just my take on it, but it's like, they're not, of course, if it's actually a skinwalker is a human, not a coyote. So it's a human pretending to be a coyote in a coyote's body. So things are bound to look a little off.
Exactly. And that leads perfectly into my next point. Another way to tell is if the animal's movements are just not right. And let me explain what that means with a scenario. So say you're in the woods. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say not the woods, a desert. Technically, skinwalkers thrive in the desert, okay? So let's say you're in the desert or a chaparral, you're on a hike, doing whatever, and you see a coyote behind you following you. Not abnormal, but it's strange, like I said, because usually they follow you if they're only in packs because they're big pussies.
Right.
But this one's alone. Then, all of a sudden, you turn around and pretend to charge at it to scare it off. And as it turns around to run, its top half turns properly, but its hind legs are still facing your direction. And this is most likely caused by a hiccup in the shifting process and can be easily a giveaway for a skinwalker.
Even if you don't know what a skinwalker is, you should run the fuck away the minute you see that.
Yes. So if you see something weird, if you're in one of these areas and you see an animal that's just off, something's really weird about it, don't hang out and take pictures and like email them to National Geographic and shit. Just bounce, you know?
Yep.
Just take off. It's for your betterment to like leave the situation.
Oh, yeah. Also, too, if you take proof of it, guess what? These things can run 200 miles per hour. You're not going to be able to live long enough to show people.
Exactly. So it will get into how to protect yourself in a little bit, but running away, yeah, it'll help your chances, but it's not really the best thing to do. But just know if you see an animal acting weird, take off. Okay.
Yep. Don't risk it for the biscuit.
And now on to how we can tell if they are a skinwalker while in human form. Now, for some of their tribes people, like we said earlier, it's actually fairly easy to tell. Apparently, I hear. Look, believe it or not, I'm not Navajo, so I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've heard. I received some smoke signals this morning. I did an in the sky interview with a local Navajo tribe, and this is what they told me. Okay,
sure.
So these are members of the reservation who are shunned by others, like I said earlier, right? They are kind of like the hermits of the society. They live on the outskirts of the reservation. They collect dead animal skins and perform strange rituals with said dead animal skins. That's a pretty dead giveaway right there.
I think anybody doing that would be a bit of a being on the outskirts.
Exactly. They're often gone at night, nowhere to be found at their home. They often have yellow or red eyes.
Ugh.
And this is a big one here. Sunglasses. Yes, they wear sunglasses. Let's say you are driving to Vegas. No, that wouldn't work. Let's say you're driving to Utah and you pass through Arizona for a second and you stop at a gas station, right? Gas station happens to be near or on a reservation. And you see some Indian guy walk up to you and he's wearing sunglasses. Not suspicious, right? It's probably bright out. It's the fucking desert. But if you go back to the reservation and he only wears sunglasses all the time, that's suspicious. And the reason is because they're trying to hide their skinwalker eyes.
So if you're a skinwalker, you're on the outskirts, but you can still like live around other Navajos. Is that what's going on?
Yes.
Damn, that's weird. So you have to basically live with the town serial killer, basically.
Because the weird thing about it is nobody has the proof that they're the skinwalker. Unless they do, then they usually kill him. But nobody has like the proof. Like they know that there's something up with this guy and he's probably a skinwalker, but they don't have like they haven't gotten to nail down the shape shifting. Nobody's seen it in person yet. You know, they just know that there's something up with this dude.
I imagine a yellow red eyes is kind of a pretty telling marker.
That's why he's wearing the sunglasses, man.
So is that something that happens like later on and they're like, oh, but even then, if you're wearing sunglasses all the time and you refuse to take them off, that's already like a pretty dead giveaway. They'll be like, why don't you take it off? If they're super savvy about skinwalkers, unless it's a thing where they just straight up like don't want to like deal with it. So they just like choose to ignore it.
Yeah. It's pretty much like a don't ask, don't tell situation unless they have irrefutable proof.
Okay, I guess I can kind of understand that. It is a pretty like out there thing. So it's like we're pretty sure you're out there killing people, but also at the same time, it's like seems like this is more your problem than ours. We got enough shit to deal with.
Yeah. And you know what? This is just my my and more people online speculation about the situation, and from what we've heard from some inside people who are actually Navajo. But remember, everybody, I'm not a part of the tribe. I could be completely wrong and we could have gotten completely wrong information, but this is where it stands right now. Another way to tell is a really, really bad odor. And we're not just talking about your standard Taco Bell BO smell. It's like a rancid, dead animal smell emanating from this person. And finally, you can tell by unusual muscle proportions and bone structure on their forearms, hands, shins, and feet due to shapeshifting into an animal form and running on all fours all the time.
I mean, if you work it out, it's going to get bigger.
It's going to get bigger. There's going to be scarring, all kinds of weird shit. So keep a lookout for that.
Now, do any of these carry over to when they do their shape-shifted human form? Like the yellow eyes and all that shit?
I don't think the eyes do. The eyes won't be yellow or red. They will look like your family member or whoever they take on the form of, but they just won't. There's some reports that say that they just don't sound 100% accurate. Like, picture this. Picture you're like hanging out downstairs. No, let's say you're hanging out upstairs in your room and your mom is supposed to be making dinner or something, and you hear her call you, but from her room, and it just kind of doesn't sound like 100% like your mom, but it kind of does. Like if you weren't really thinking about it, you'd be like, "Oh, that's my mom," but they sound like slightly off.
It's like the cadence is kind of off, where it's because it's like I speak a certain way and you speak a certain way. There's a certain rhythm to it. I don't know. For me, I'm usually like half articulate, half sputtering mess that like freaks out at every other sentence. But like that's also telling that it's probably the real me. But so that's like, okay, so if like we're talking right now, like I'm talking the way I'm talking, but in my voice, I'm saying like, we're saying the lines, Jack Daniels is a great drink. And then suddenly I say like, Jack Daniels is a great drink. Like there's just something a little, you could tell they're trying to figure it, because you can't perfectly mimic somebody's voice. Even if you have the same like tone, like it's the cadence that really is what sells it. So that's another thing that's, even if you got superpowers, it's hard to replicate.
Yes. And that is another way to tell too, is that they just don't have that right. If they're in a shape-shifted human form, they just don't have that right voice, and there's something off about them. You know,
they seem a little bit more excited to see you than usual because they're gonna kill you. That's why.
Yeah. So if you had a huge fight with your fucking dad or something, and you come home and he's all like, "Oh, hey, so good to see you," and hey, why don't we come over to the kitchen real quick? Don't go to the kitchen with him.
Yep, because you're gonna get a big old stab in the back.
Yeah, because best case scenario, he's gonna diddle you, and it's actually your dad. And worst case scenario, it's a skinwalker.
I mean, you could put it that way, I guess, but this is all to protect you guys.
Yes. And speaking of protection, man, you are just on it with the transitions today.
Fuck yeah, I'm not even trying. I told you my stars are all up today. That's why.
Vibin'.
Yes.
So now, speaking of protection, we now know what a skinwalker is, and we know how to spot one for the most part. Now, how are you supposed to defend yourself against one of these things?
It's a good question. Outside of just panicking.
Yeah, panicking and shitting yourself isn't going to get you too far, you know?
It's a start, but it's not going to save you.
Well, remember, let's start up top with this. They can run for very long periods of time and do it very quickly. So consider running away not an option. There is no fight or flight. There is only fight when it comes to skinwalkers.
And it seems to me like the fight can start with information gathering. Like it doesn't necessarily like, you can find ways to. So if you realize a skinwalker might be stalking you, that's basically when you should start preparing, right?
You know what? Prepare even before that. I have a house full of things that have me quote unquote prepared for multiple different types of intruders, right? Skinwalkers, vampires, werewolves is a tough one because, man, those guys are just hard to take down, brother. And I can't afford silver bullets. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have to fight him one-on-one, fisticuffs, and see who wins, basically.
Or beg him to bite you, right?
Or be like, bro, come on, dude, it's my dream. Just like annoy him until he leaves, you know?
Yeah, feed him your dog, and then like be like, okay, you ate now. Come on, bite, please.
Come on, just a quick bite or a scratch. Give me something, man. All right, don't leave me hanging. I've been waiting for this moment for fucking 20-something years.
Well, good. You have a plan for everything.
Yes, zombies. Kind of ready for zombies. That's an easy one. But skinwalkers, that's going to take, like Tasker said, and I don't think he meant to do this intentionally, but yes, it takes a lot of preparation, specifically. Now, because think of it like this, right? The first thing you need to do if you know a skinwalker is stalking you is you need to find out who it is. Okay? You need to find out who the actual skinwalker is that's trying to harm you. And sure, it may be easy to do it if you live on the reservation, but a majority of us don't, thank God, right?
Wow.
So it will definitely take some sneaking and planning to find out who the skinwalker is that's targeting you.
Outstalk the stalker.
Exactly. You're thinking like a targeted individual, Tasker. Have you been gang stalked lately?
No, but you've like made me paranoid about enough stuff to have that sense starting to open, to
Good.
blossom, if I will.
Oh man, I'm so proud of you. Look at you, dude. Look at you, man. Look, you're blossoming. Your third eye is slowly becoming decalcified. Have you been taking shorter showers like I told you?
Have I?
Take shorter showers, man. There's a bunch of fluoride in that water, dog. And the longer you're in there, the worse it is for you.
All right. I will keep that in mind.
Okay. Now, but once you know who it is, the most effective way to kill a skinwalker is to call them by their human name, their true name. Because if they're doing their job correctly, nobody should know who it is. And that's their ultimate weakness, is the minute you find out their name is the minute you have ultimate spiritual power over them. And you can say their name and it will kill them.
Oh, just like right where they stand?
Yeah.
Damn. So being a skinwalker does come with risks, though. It's not all fun games and turning into bears and mauling people. If you got to be good at. So that's why they're so hard to figure out, because they know their lives at stake if they get found out.
Exactly. It's a hard game of cat and mouse. And that's why skinwalkers are so good at what they do, is because they have to be.
And that's the level of sociopathy we're dealing with, that they're willing to put their own lives on the line to kill other people.
Yes, to have the power and to do all sorts of negative things.
See, I like these kinds of like cryptid kind of things because like there's like, I like the whole, it's like it's powerful, but it comes with a cost. Like, I don't know, it just feels more fair for some reason.
Like being a werewolf.
Yep, there's trade-offs. There's, power comes with a cost.
Exactly. Like when you're a werewolf, yeah, you're like this ultimate killing machine and you're badass looking and stuff, but you can't remember any of it.
Yep.
And it only happens like once a month.
Boo.
So
interesting.
Like a period.
Yes, Nick, like a period. God damn it.
Now, you can also use silver, much like with a werewolf, to either ward off the skinwalker or kill them. There's been some debate as to why silver is so important with killing or warding off creatures in history, right? Especially with the werewolf. And like we've discussed before, it's probably due to the fact that it was used a lot for ornate holy objects, and it's tied in spiritually with holiness. So if you have evil, naturally they're going to be repulsed by something that is usually seen as pure.
So it's just that sort of the years and years and centuries of good spiritual juju being put into silver is kind of just giving it just a general context of being just a holy metal.
Being holy, being pure. Yeah, it's so good to go. If you have silver, it's expensive, and it's also very hard to, it's not hard to smelt down, but we don't live in fucking the 1700s. Like, you don't just have a blacksmith. It's not Skyrim, right? You can't just like go to the blacksmith and smelt down silver. So if you have silver and you have the capabilities, I do recommend forming a knife blade, but it's a kind of a soft silver, or it's kind of a soft metal, so you don't, you can't get a lot of stabbing action in, but you could probably slash with it. But I would probably opt in for silver bullets if you had the ability to smelt silver. So just like a pro tip from Uncle Nick, you know what I mean?
Well, if they're mortal, wouldn't just a regular bullet work?
They're mortal in a sense that they die just like us with age, and they can get disease, but they're harder to kill once they've taken on this like evil ritual that kind of turns them into something kind of human but not human. They're harder to kill.
I see. So it's like if you want to one tap them, silver's the way to go. So a gun probably could kill them, but it's gonna take a lot of really good shots.
Yes, exactly. It's like a werewolf. You could probably kill a werewolf with a gun too, but they're a lot easier to kill with silver.
Yeah, and why reinvent the wheel? Like, why put undue stress on yourself? Like, let's get it done so we can move on with our day.
Exactly. Now, it would be smart also to put a protective circle around your property using substances such as salt or ash. But you need to put intent behind these substances before you lay them to make it work. Remember, it's magic. Magic is all about intent. It's all about utilizing the energies of the universe and using them for your purpose. So fight magic with magic.
Well, and that's also kind of in that same, like the whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecy, which works both ways. If you feel so strongly in your soul that that party you're going to go to is going to suck, it's probably going to end up sucking. And in a way, that's kind of, one can argue, a small form of magic at work, of sort of bending the universe a little bit to your will. I mean, something like that doesn't involve, ritual or some sort of stuff. So that's why it can only go so far. But like you said, it's the intent, just as the same as you go out and you try your best to have the best night of your life and everything goes wrong. I mean, yeah, probably at some point you'll be like, this shit fucking sucks. But you were able to bend things a little bit, and who knows, maybe it was bad, but it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been. Exactly. So like intent, it's huge with magic, and it's huge with protection spells and rituals. You got to do it. Even if you're not somebody who practices magic, anybody can do it. It takes practice, but literally anyone could do magic if you have the right intent behind it.
Interesting. So yeah, so if you're putting salt on your burger, there's no intent to, your intent is to make it delicious. That's all it's going to do. But if you're putting salt, well, you got to put it in a circle. This is more complicated than putting salt on a burger. I'll say that.
Yes, a little bit more, but anybody could do it.
Got it.
Now, a little bit more of a conventional method. Bear traps apparently work very well against skinwalkers.
They're effective against most things.
Yes. But I have heard that skinwalkers are becoming more keen to the idea that people are using bear traps to trap them. So if you're going to set up bear traps, we highly recommend burying them in leaves so they can't be seen.
Ooh, imagine a bear trap made out of pure silver.
Bro, that would be the ultimate fuck you to a skinwalker.
Also to werewolves too. That would probably fuck them up pretty good, right?
Oh yeah. That would suck. Man, those poor werewolves, dude.
Yeah, I could see if somebody like you, if you won the lottery, first thing you do is like 100 pure silver bear traps.
Bear traps, silver bullets, and then I'd be set. The only thing I'm not prepared for is werewolves, because I don't have any like substantial silver. I'm not Donald Trump. Like, I don't have the money to just start like buying silver knives and shit,
Mm-hmm. So if you want to help Nick out, we do have a coffee account.
Yeah, send me some money so I can blow them on silver bullets.
We're gonna eventually devolve into a fucking snake oil podcast like Alex Jones.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? Once the skinwalker is trapped in the bear trap, you can, like we kind of touched on a little bit ago, you could really kill them any way you want. And yeah, it'll take a little bit longer without silver, but with enough elbow grease, you could easily decapitate them, and that'll do the job. Yep.
Still people. They got a little magic buff, but when that head's gone, bye-bye.
Exactly. So if they're stuck if they're stuck in one of your bear traps, highly recommend taking an axe or a machete to the neck. And look, if the FBI, if you're just tuning in, this is not like a podcast where we're talking about how to like kill people. We're talking about how to protect yourself from monstrous people who can turn into other animals and kill you.
This is self-defense, which, if I recall, is it doesn't break any laws.
Yeah, that's right. So sue me. Do something about it. Now, another effective way to kill them is fire, right? And that's an obvious one. And it's really due to the fire's innate spiritual cleansing properties. And it's always had those properties. And it's always had those properties with ancient civilizations and through magic throughout time. It's very important.
It's a pretty safe bet for most evil things that once you set them on fire, they're pretty much done, though.
Yeah, just like me. If I was set on fire, I'd probably die too. So,
yeah, but I think that's just, because we are flammable.
Yes, which is weird for how much water we're made up of, I'd say.
Very curious, right? I think there was a Mitch Hedberg joke about that, where he's just like, there's all these like signs saying like, oh, don't block fire exits. Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you are flammable and have legs, you will never be blocking a fire exit.
Dude, Mitch Hedberg was fucking terrible.
Nah, he was. Fuck you, man.
I don't know, man. It's just something about him. Something about him, man. Don't make me do my impersonation. I don't want to do it.
You just hate drug people.
No, that's not true. I have friends who do drugs, and I feel cool being associated with them because I don't have the balls to do it myself.
That first part, you sounded like an honor student for a second there. I have friends who do drugs.
I know a black guy,
Oh, wow.
Okay, look, the next one. If you have a gun, some bullets, and a dead baby, then you are in luck. So, what?
Dead baby?
Yeah. Now, it's said that a bullet covered in the ashes of a newborn baby will kill a skinwalker easily. Now, it's either that or silver bullets, and that's really depends on whichever one is easier for you to get your hands on.
So, if you happen to have one of those things laying around, you're in luck.
And yeah, you're probably a bad parent too. So
yeah, probably. Holy shit. So it's like, how bad do you want to live? But also too, like, there's no reason why that would come up. How the fuck do people figure that out? Actually, don't answer that.
Well, look, I don't want to be the controversial one. I never want to take that side, but you could always make a new baby, like they're not even like talking yet,
Yeah. Well, okay, to kind of adjust where we're at, I suppose one could say if there was a stillborn or something like that, would that work, or do they have to have been born?
That's a good question. It says newborn, so I think that they had to have been born.
Or if they died in like childbirth or something.
Yeah, that might work.
But why would you keep it? That's so weird.
Well, now you know. So anybody listening to this, if God forbid, Satan forbid, if something like that happens to you, pop it in the freezer.
Just spend the money for a goddamn silver bear trap. Like, that's so weird and gross.
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird, but it's effective. All right. How badly do you want to protect your family, except for that baby? Apparently, how bad?
Not that badly. Not that badly. I'll take my chances on just buying a gun.
All right, fine. I thought I'd throw it in there because it adds some genuine.
Well, no, it's thorough and it is genuine. It works. I'm just saying it's gross and strange, and no, I think that's dumb. I think there's better things to do.
Hey, man, it's my body, my choice, homie. All right.
Problematic at best.
Yikes! I'm on a roll today.
Guess so.
Let's see. An important protection tip here: the Navajo believe that speaking of skinwalkers too much will attract them to you. So don't talk about them so much if you're in skinwalker territory.
I didn't think that one through, huh?
I did not. And that's why at the top of this episode, I said that I'm a little bit nervous about making this episode. If you haven't noticed, we have been talking about skinwalkers for, I'd say about an hour and a half now.
Definitely.
And I am, in fact, in skinwalker territory, so I didn't take the proper preventative measures. So now I might have to take some defensive measures. I don't know.
Yep. Don't let Nick near your baby.
Look, it's either It's either me or the baby, man. And I'm technically bigger, so.
That reminds me of that Whitest Kids You Know sketch about the guy who's trying to pitch selling a baby skull seeking bullets.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And there's like a group of gangster thugs that have like baby skulls, and that's his like big like pitch for it.
I remember that. Yeah, it was a better time in comedy when you could joke about stuff like that.
Dude, I rewatched some of their stuff recently. Like, there's no way that would have flown nowadays, but it was really funny back in the day.
It was. See, I might get canceled for the dead baby stuff here. It's just facts. All right.
Yep,
if you want to protect yourself, it's facts. I'm not saying you have to do it. It's just one of your options. So if you have one lying around that isn't breathing anymore, burn it.
Yeah, well, it's like you're backing up into a corner, you ran out of bullets, they're still coming for you, and they're twisted around being all crazy, and then suddenly, boop, you bopped into a dead newborn. Guess what? You're good.
Yeah, so consider yourself lucky if that's the case.
Jesus Christ. But it has to be the ashes of them, too, so you got to really hope that thing's flat. This is a gross conversation.
You almost said it. You almost said you better hope that dead baby's flammable.
This is a gross conversation, but we're doing it for you, because what kind of podcast would we be if we didn't talk about every part of it?
Yeah, I'm not going to leave stuff out because it's touchy, because it's a touchy subject. Look, like I said, you don't have to do it. It's an option. If you find yourself in a situation where you can and you need to do it, do it. But most of you aren't going to be in that situation, so you might rely on silver, or you might rely on finding out their name. It doesn't matter. You'll be okay. Maybe.
I would go for the name part. That's the least violent and probably the easiest. Well, no, actually, if you're not a good detective.
Yeah, they make it very difficult. That's why it's usually easier just to try and kill them physically, but it's hard to do so.
Yeah. Or if you know they're coming in, or if you risk them, just sit down there with the shotgun. But also, too, because they're faking, they might try to pull the wool over your eyes and be like, wait, no, don't shoot. I'm blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
So it's up to you. So good luck to y'all.
But the most important tip we can give you today is this. Skinwalkers gain more power from fear and will pursue those who fear it, because apparently we taste better when we're afraid. It's kind of like Pennywise.
Well, yeah, we talked about this last episode. The adrenaline makes you taste better to monsters usually.
No, the adrenochromes. Yeah.
Adrenochrome, whatever.
Adrenochromes. And it's not monsters, it's politicians. But what's the difference? Am I right?
Hey! Yeah, basically.
So essentially, here's this. Don't be a pussy. And then they'll move on to somebody else. That's going to be my tactic, because it's a little too late for me to not talk about them. Like I said, we've been talking about them for a while now. I'm in primo territory right now, but I'm just not going to be afraid of them, because what are they going to do? Are they going to come to my house as like somebody I know and be like, hey, you want to hang out? First off, I'm new here. Nobody should know my address. So that's going to be suspicious off the bat. I'm not going to fall for that shit. And second of all, if they come into my house, what are they going to do? Overpower me?
I suppose, but that is kind of a nice sentiment, though, that they can eventually give up on you and just leave you alone.
And they will. If you seriously don't pay them any attention, if they try all their tricks in the book and you're not paying any attention to them, they will move on to somebody else.
There's a far cry from using dead baby ashes to save your ass. So there's quite a scale of ways to protect yourself. So we'll leave it up to you guys on what you feel is the most effective and convenient.
Yes. But that is also something I need to point out really quick, is if it's a revenge kind of thing that they're going after, they may not give up so easily. So remember that. It depends on why they're coming after you. If they're coming after you because they're just hungry and you caught their attention, you have a better chance of getting them to move on if you don't pay attention. But if it's a revenge thing, like if you were that fuckboy who walked onto the reservation and slapped his ass or something, he's not going to give up that easily. All right.
Yeah. But fortunately, those seem to be the rarer of the type. So just do your best. You know what you did. So just have that in mind and do the best that you can if you live in these territories.
That's right. And everybody, that's it for Skinwalkers. That was a fun episode, man. I fucking love talking about Skinwalkers.
Oh, yeah. And next week, we're going to dig ourselves into a deeper hole when it comes to more Native American. Can we even call these cryptids, or is it more just like, is that like kind of downplaying it? Or I don't know. What would you classify these as?
I wouldn't call them cryptids. I would call them folklore spirits. I would
Okay.
call it folklore. That I believe in personally. I believe in skinwalkers. The next one, we're not going to tell you what it is, but it's not really a cryptid. Cryptids are cryptozoological creatures, right? They're animals technically that just haven't been quote unquote scientifically discovered yet, right? By the white lab coat wearing folk.
Right. But so that would be a cryptid, and it's something, if you say makes a chain of bad decisions that leads you to transform into something, that does not fall into cryptid territory, right?
I don't think so. I believe that cryptids come from a more natural origin, except for Bigfoot. Bigfoot, and we've gotten questions as to why we haven't covered Bigfoot yet. That is a huge topic. That is a topic that is going to take some time, and I wanted to address this, I guess, since we're talking about cryptids. That's going to take some time. That's going to take book reading time. And guys, like I've said before, Tasker and I are full-time workers, man. We don't unfortunately have time to, and I want to do it justice. I want to do Bigfoot justice and all these big topics justice because they deserve it. And because there's multiple theories about them. So we will touch on it eventually in big grand series on them. But until then, keep it in your back pocket.
Yeah, and also too, keep in mind it's also kind of Bigfoot's second on the line on our checklist, because obviously number one is always going to be Count Chocula, which we've been chipping at for at this point almost over a year.
Almost a year, and I'm still alive.
Yeah, you made it
so far.
Which also, and it begs the question too, do you think Count Chocula may actually have some Native American origin to him? Is there some sort of like power to him? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to confirm because, the dude's in full makeup all the time. So,
that's a good question. I don't know his origins. Frankly, I don't care about his origins. The only thing I care about is finding out the truth behind the different theories we have, right? All the theories we've compiled. Because time is ticking on very slowly, but it's ticking on in general. And eventually we're going to have to do the episode on this when the time is right and when we have the information. So I want to get to the bottom of what's going on presently.
Yeah. Well, let's just say we got a really tight scope on the Biden administration, because we're trying to see if, one of them kind of has the slick back hair and covers his teeth up, because for all we know, maybe I know I was excited when Trump got kicked out, but we might have just invited in the ultimate evil.
You're right. So, we were briefly talking about adrenochromes on this episode and the last episode. I would not be surprised. Look, first off, adrenochromes are drank through the blood stream, right? By these politicians. Count Chocula is a fucking vampire. If there was any doubt in anyone's mind that adrenochromes are real and are being utilized by politicians, it's now more than ever if Count Chocula is on Biden's cabinet. It's going to be horrifying.
Well, just like how they kept Epstein around, so they have free access to a bunch of 14-year-old girls, they're going to keep Chocula around to get their constant access to adrenochromes. I mean, it only makes sense.
Yep. So, guess what? It's just he's going global, and it's not good. It's really not good for us. So, we will continue our work, but remember, we can't rush this. We need the truth to come out.
Because I think our goals are shifting to not just explaining it, but we want to bust this open, because we know, like we said before, once we get this out, we're as good as dead. So when we bust out, we want it to be so incriminating that we might actually save our own skins, because he'll just be so exposed and bring him right into the limelight. And we've now, I think, developed, this is more of a rebellion than it is a research.
Yes. Rise up against Count Chocula with us, everybody. We've already had a couple of you do so. We need more. We need more people. We're making a militia.
Yeah, absolutely. We can always use your help. And we look forward to the day where we can bring this menace down. But until then, thank you for listening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to have you here. If you are listening on iTunes, if you could hit us with a 5-star rating review, that would be fantastic. Help us boost our numbers. Let everybody see this shiny, glossy, new album artwork we have. Album artwork, I think that's what it's called. Podcast art.
Podcast art, I suppose, because we don't technically have an album. I haven't dropped my new album yet, so
Yeah. We're working on that. The Close Encounters musical that we're working on. If you're listening on Spotify, you can shoot us a follow. New episodes every Wednesday, as we do and as we continue to do. Instagram is at CEOTPK. You can find us on YouTube, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Twitter at CEOTPK1. Facebook is just Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. If you'd like, you can email us at ceotpk1@gmail.com. Or you can join us, talk with us in a more live setting at Discord, which is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. All of those links, though, however, are on our Facebook. So that's a much more easier way to do it. By the way, I did find out searching CEOTPK, though more convenient to type out, you're more likely to find us by typing in Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind in full. We show up like first on Google now. So good job, all you guys. It's because of you that we've made it this far.
Yes, and join our Discord, man. It's fun over there. People are posting memes, and just come talk with us. Oh my god, come talk with us and stuff. We can talk about all kinds of things.
All the best stuff. Also, I mentioned it earlier, but we do have ko/fi.com/CEOTPK, our coffee. If you feel the need to download us money, why not? We'll go with that.
Yeah. I need silver bullets stat, so I don't have to kill a baby. All right,
Nick, we actually are talking about getting a pure silver microphone, so that way if they're trying to get us mid-recording, we're good to go.
Yeah, I'll swing it like a flail. But look, everybody, whether you're Navajo or you're non-Navajo, just remember the truth is out there.
We've been offensive enough today to I could just say it. It's just not. Be respectful. It's not.
I'm not leaving the house after this episode. Fuck that. I don't have time for that shit right now. Maybe tomorrow.